Welcome back to the Prolworks channel. My name is John. I had intended for this video to come out before 2021 ended, but I couldn't really find any time with the holidays to get the voiceover done, so here I am now a few days into the new year, finally getting it posted for you guys. In this video, I'm building my smallest apothecary chest yet. It's going to have 15 drawers that are each 2 inches by 2 inches. This was a present from my father, and it is meant to store little pocket knives. He collects various types of knives, many different case knives and things like that, and this one is to store all of the small ones he has. Last year I made the mini barrister bookcase for my mom as a present, so this year I wanted to make something for my dad. What you've seen me do so far is mill up some 4/4 oak into 3/8 inch thick panels for the outer casework of the box, and then I also got some joinery cut with the dowel max along with a groove cut for the back panel. And you just saw the stretchers and feet getting cut by the CNC, and now I'm doing some joinery with the domino for those. This was actually too small for the dowel max, and it's also almost too small for the domino XL, but I kind of made it work here. I have this little dock here made by Ramon Valdez. I'll link that below. It's really handy for getting the domino upright like this so you can work on small parts. Gluing these together actually happened a little bit down the road, but I'm just showing you the footage now. I added some roundovers to the pieces and then added a little bit of glue and dominoes, and that was it for those. To keep things in proportion with my normal work, I had to shrink the casework down to 3/8 of an inch and the dividers down to 1/4 inch. So I'm using a 1/4 inch bit here with my routing guide, and this is going to give me evenly spaced dados on the outer casework. And these are going to be about 3/16 of an inch deep, and that'll get me set up for the next step, which is getting the dividers made. I make a few test cuts on some scrap to sneak up on the right fit for the dividers. Once I have that dialed in, I'll make the actual cuts on those dividers, and then I can head back to my routing jig to cut the dados on either side of the dividers. Now these are going to be about a 1/16 to 3/32 of an inch deep, which isn't much, but it's just enough for the horizontal dividers to kind of seat in nicely. I have to make these cuts on either side, so I'm doing a lot of clamping and unclamping. I'm probably going to add some tabs to these jigs in the future so that the clamps don't get in the way of the router. It's probably something I should have done in the past, but just sort of hit me with this one because it was so obvious. Similar to my 80 drawer apothecary cabinet, I'm using runners instead of full width horizontal dividers, and I think this is the latest evolution of the way I build these. This saves a little bit of material, and it's also just simpler overall to construct. After a little bit of sanding and adding some wax to those runners, I moved on to the glue up. This was a pretty simple glue up, just getting all of the dowels and glue installed as well as the dividers. I can then slide the back panel in, which I made off camera, and then add the top and some clamps. By the way, I used a few more clamps than what I just showed. I just didn't film all of it. Anyway, here I am getting the horizontal dividers cut into length, and then I can do a dry fit, which is very important for making the glue up as painless as possible. I also left these dividers a tad wide so that they sit out about a 1/16 or an 1/8 inch proud of the front of the case. That way I can come back later and plane it all flush. I brushed some glue in each of the dados and got each one installed one by one. The last one goes in pretty easily because I did that dry fit and made sure that everything fit nicely. And I can come back with my little block plane to flush up those dividers. Drawers! Let's go! Has anyone else been watching Encanto nonstop? Just me? Alright, so we have 15 drawers here to make. The sides are made of ash and they're a 1/4 inch thick, and the fronts are white oak and they're 3/8 of an inch thick. These fronts are going to be from one board here, so I'm keeping them in order from left to right and from top to bottom. I use my little crosscut sled to cut these to width, and you can see that I labeled them ahead of time, just kind of measuring about 2 inches over and then labeling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 15 for each row. As usual, I'm using the half-blind lock joint for the drawer joinery. It does work on pieces this small, it's just that over time your hands get a little tired gripping these little pieces, but it will work. You'll see that I had to make some adjustments for the tongue cut. I added a sacrificial fence to my real fence so that I can move it closer to the blade and get that cut made. Off camera, I got the bottom grooves and back dados cut along with the back pieces, and I did a little bit of sanding before gluing them all up. I've been asked why I don't use the half-blind lock joint on the back part of the drawers, and I like to do the dados here because I can leave extra material on the back, and that way I can make the drawers longer. So when I go to put these into the cabinet, you'll see that they stick out like an 1/8 inch or so. Then I can come back and trim that back material so that they sit perfectly flush with the front face of the cabinet. I used a block plane to get things started here, but you'll see that I switched to the orbital sander. It did really well with these small drawers and got things done pretty quickly. It gave me the idea to get an edge sander if I need to make a lot of drawers this small. I would say anything under 5 inches would work well with the edge sander, though I guess we'll see what happens if I actually get it. Anything larger, I would probably still use the jointer and the block plane. So you can see there that the drawers sit out about an 1/8 inch or so, and now I'm cutting that excess off the back part of the side pieces, and you'll see in this next shot they go in nice and flush. I do some sanding and then add some roundovers to all of the edges. This is a 3/32 inch roundover with the small bearing. It's sold by Amana, and I'll have it linked below. These small bearing roundover bits are really good for inside corners, which I'm doing in this shot here. It gets much closer to that corner so that you don't have to do as much hand sanding. I didn't film this whole process, but it is similar to what I did in my last Apothecary chest build, and I'll link that above right now. There's a dowel in each leg that corresponds to a hole in each corner of the cabinet. Then I can just add some glue to those dowels along with the little stretchers and get them clamped in place. I drilled holes for the little brass knobs that I'll be using over at the drill press, and then I can add the old Works brand to the back. I used Mahoney's walnut oil for this, and I only did one coat. I mean, something about the white oak and this walnut oil, it just leaves a nice finish. So if my dad needs me to touch it up, I can just add another coat, but for some reason one coat on this, it looks really nice. And the last step is to glue in the little brass knobs, which I got from Lee Valley Tools. I'm just messing with you guys. The actual last step is to deliver the last drawer on my mini bike. That's about it for this one. This was a fun little project. My dad really liked it and was surprised because it's an odd gift and totally unexpected. Anyways, I don't have any immediate plans to make plans for this build, but if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. Anyways, if you guys are interested in seeing what I'm building as it's in progress, follow me on Instagram at Perlworks. Thanks for watching.